Okay, my surroundings seem kind of different. I'm actually shooting this video in a hotel inside St. Louis where I had to go for a small work conference. So last week I reviewed, of course, the ever atrocious Street Fighter. Ironically, I was very good at most of the Capcom and SNK fighting games, and I was absolutely atrocious and still am when it comes to the Mortal Kombat series. And ironically, Mortal Kombat actually had two movies. Well, I guess you could say Street Fighter had two as well, but you had one, then decades later you had another one that really aren't connected. Now, when this first Mortal Kombat movie came out, I remember watching a special, I want to say it was on TBS, where they were talking about the movie, and they refused to show any footage of Goro. Goro, of course, being the forearm villain, who was a sub-boss of Shang Tsung. And ironically, when they first showed Goro in the movie, it had that nice grandiose feeling to it, and it looked really insane. They did a fantastic job on Goro at the time. And the fact that they took a very, very simple concept. It is humans going to a different realm to fight in an otherworldly tournament. So you actually have the ability to choose, different sorts of characters and have different sorts of abilities, and it actually makes sense given the overall context of the way that the movie actually plays out and the way the video game itself plays out. And you pretty much have, a very small handful of characters being your primary focus. You have Raiden, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya. And throughout the movie, they do battles with Kano, Shang Tsung, Goro, Scorpion, Reptile, and Sub-Zero. Now, the three palette swap ninjas, Reptile, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, were all done really well. When you watch it nowadays, the way Reptile looks in his CGI form is kind of bad. They didn't do a fantastic job on that. But the fight scenes with all those characters were done very well. I'd probably say the majority of fight scenes in this movie are actually really decent when it comes to given the storyline you're going with. The Kano Sonya Blade fight, the fight between Goro and Johnny Cage, pretty decent. It had a nice amount of foreshadowing in the beginning. Johnny Cage versus Scorpion, Liu Kang versus Sub-Zero versus Reptile. But then it comes to that fight against Shang Tsung. When he has to do the three different sorts of fighting, it's like, know your enemy, then know yourself, and that's when it got kind of weak. The fight between those two is actually done very well. But that whole just weird pseudo-philosophical way of doing it, no, that just did not work at all. And of course it ended beautifully, leading directly into a sequel. And I'll be honest, if you're looking at movies that are based off of fighting video games, by far probably one of the best ones is easily Mortal Kombat.